Let's take a quick pause before we keep going. If you ever thought, I make good money, so why am I not further along by now? I want to personally invite you to a live workshop I'm hosting called the 2026 Money Reset. This is a one-day transformational experience designed to help you understand why your money patterns keep repeating and what actually needs to change for 2026 to be different. This is not a budgeting class. It is a reset. It is happening live on Sunday, December 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can save your seat right now at jermainefoley.com/2026. That's Jermaine with a G, Foley.com/2026. So if you're ready for a fresh start financially and you want 2026 to be different for real this time, I'd love to see you there. All right, let's get back to the episode. You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Okay, so around this time every year, there seems to be a lot of talk about New Year's resolutions. And you've probably heard the stats that around 80% of people who set New Year's resolutions actually quit, often by the second or third week in January. And there's actually a name for this. It's called Quitter's Day, and it's the second Friday of January. This is when most people give up on their New Year's resolution. And for a long time, I used to use that stat as proof that New Year's resolutions just don't work. And I would say, what's the point? Most people give up. Usually people never achieve their goals, so why even bother? But then when I was reading a book on behavior change, the author pointed out something that really changed the way I now see New Year's resolutions. She said that yes, 80% of the people quit, but if you flip that stat on its head, that means 20% actually follow through. And when you really think about the fact that millions upon millions of people set New Year's resolutions, that means that millions of people do actually change their lives. So the real question really isn't why do New Year's resolutions fail, right? We see the news articles about those, but the real question really is what's different about the 20% who actually succeed? What do you need to do to be one of those few that make their New Year's resolution stick? And here's what I've come to believe after years of doing this work. The people who actually stick to their New Year's resolution, the people who actually change, it's not about luck, it's not about willpower, and it's not that they're somehow more disciplined than everyone else. It's that they understand something that most of us just don't understand. They get that real change requires commitment, not just intention. So let me say that again for the people in the back. Real change requires commitment, not just intention. And here's the difference between the two. Both are important, but they're very different. So I want to explain. So intention is what you want to do. It's the hope, the plan. Commitment is different though. Commitment happens when you decide that you will do it no matter what, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't feel motivated, and even when you want to give up. Commitment looks like getting back on track even when you mess up, right? It means that you are just in it for the long haul. You are in it to win it. Most people set goals, but very few people actually commit to making those goals a reality no matter what. So if you do not want to be one of those people who set goals without committing to them, who set New Year's resolutions without actually going all in and being fully committed to them, then I've got something for you coming up. I am hosting a brand new one-day workshop called the 2026 Money Reset. Your year to build wealth for real this time, and you are invited. During this workshop, I am going to be taking you through a lot of different things that hold women back from doing the things they want to do in the new year. This isn't going to be another budgeting class, and we're not even going to focus on setting goals. This is a reset, a fresh start, so that you can commit to whatever you want to accomplish in 2026. This is going to be a transformational experience designed to help you understand why you're not further along financially, even though you make really good money. And we're going to look at what needs to change so that you walk into 2026 feeling committed, clear, confident, and in control of your finances. It is happening on Sunday, December 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can register by clicking the link in the show notes or by going to jermainefoley.com/2026. That's Jermaine with a G, Foley.com/2026. And listen, invite your girlfriends to this, your coworkers, your sisters, and your cousins. Just send them the link, again, jermainefoley.com/2026. Tell them that you would like to invite them and that you're going to be there, and we can make this a family affair. And they can get their own details once they're registered. The details will get sent directly to them. Now, here's the part I really want you to hear. I know we talked a little bit about commitment, and we're going to go deeper into it during the workshop. So make sure you register. Commitment doesn't just happen for some people and not for others. Most people want to commit. They mean it when they say, this year is going to be different. But committing is much easier when you're starting from the right place. And that's where timing and fresh starts can actually be very helpful. Because let's just be honest, there are moments in our lives when our brains are just more open to change than others. And there's actually a name for this. It's called the fresh start effect. And I learned about this concept from a book called How to Change by Katie Milkman. This is when your brain is more willing to let go of the old version of yourself and more receptive to doing things differently. Okay, so a fresh start is the reason why certain moments just feel powerful. A new year is a perfect example of one of those times. A birthday, especially a milestone birthday, a promotion, a move, a breakup, even a random Monday. You can literally wake up and think, I don't want to keep doing things the way I've been doing them. I'm ready to change. These moments, when we have these fresh start moments, they create a psychological clean slate. Your brain feels a little less attached to who you've been, your past mistakes, and all the things that you identify as. And for a brief moment, it's willing to reset and think of starting fresh. And it's really focused on possibility and a fresh start. That's why so many people are starting to feel hopeful right now, especially after Christmas, because we're heading into one of the biggest fresh starts, which is a new year. But here's the part most people miss. A new year doesn't magically do anything on its own. It's just a day. It's just a time frame on the calendar, right? It doesn't magically change your habits. It doesn't magically erase your old behaviors, and it doesn't make you someone new, right? But a fresh start is an opportunity. So why not take advantage of it? And as I just said, a new year is the biggest fresh start that we get all year long. It's a great time to take advantage of this fresh start effect. The people who actually change, right? That 20% I talked about earlier, they use fresh starts differently. They pause, they reflect, they decide what needs to be different before they just start rushing into doing more things. They don't just say, okay, this year is going to be different. They ask, what has kept me stuck in the past? What needs to change now? What do I need to do so that I don't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again? And that's the difference. Fresh starts don't work because of the calendar. They work when you use them to reset your thinking, to reset your identity, the way you see yourself and talk about yourself, and when you reset the way you approach your financial goals. Okay? So it's not that it's just this magical time of the year. I really want to make that clear. It is when you intentionally decide and commit to a fresh start, a reset, and you reflect on what needs to change, what's keeping you stuck, and then you commit to doing differently in the future. And that's exactly what I'm going to help you to do in the 2026 Money Reset Workshop. And remember, you can register by going to the show notes or by going to jermainefoley.com/2026. Now, I want to wrap this up. This episode is meant to be short and sweet. Most people are not where they are financially because they lack discipline or self-control. I know that's contrary to popular belief. I hear it all the time. People say that they should be further along by now. When they look at how much money they make, when they look at their age, they typically think I should be further along by now. And then they think the reason why they're not further along is because they lack discipline or that they lack self-control. But that's not the case. The real reason is because they just keep repeating what feels familiar. Your brain is designed to be efficient. And the way we are efficient is through habits. So if you have spending habits that are keeping you in credit card debt, if you have spending habits that are keeping you at a level of savings that you don't necessarily like, then it's not that you don't have self-control. It's not that you are undisciplined. It is that your brain is wired to be efficient. And the way your brain is efficient is by doing the same things over and over again. So that means that you are conditioned to spend and stay in credit card debt and to only have a certain amount of money in savings. And anytime you break out of what's familiar, your brain feels like something's off, something's wrong. And so it does everything in its power to bring you back to that familiar state. I call this your financial comfort zone, right? And many of us are in a current financial comfort zone that is not very comfortable at all. It's actually quite uncomfortable. So when you understand this, then you can see why it's so hard for so many of us to change our financial situation. It's because our brains are stuck in a financial comfort zone. And listen, I don't care how much money you make, you're in a financial comfort zone. The goal isn't to break out of a comfort zone, right? Because we all are going to always be in one. The goal is to expand your current one. So if at this point, your comfort zone is to be in credit card debt, we want to expand to a place where we're no longer in credit card debt, where being in credit card debt is actually unfamiliar. And so your brain doesn't like being there instead of it being the other way around. So for many of you right now, your brain is familiar with being in credit card debt. And so when you get out, that's unfamiliar. And so your brain wants to bring you back to that familiar state. Okay. Your brain could care less about what it is. It just wants to be familiar and wants you to be in a habit loop. And so we need to outsmart it by just changing what feels familiar. And again, this is what we're going to walk through during my workshop. So make sure you sign up for the 2026 Money Reset so that you can work on expanding your financial comfort zone. But for today, I'm going to show you what most people typically do when they want to change and why it doesn't work. So instead of trying to expand their financial comfort zone, they just go straight into action, right? And it makes sense because most people don't even know that they're in a financial comfort zone. So they just go into action. So they go into, okay, it's January 1st. It's time to go on a strict budget. I'm not spending any money for the whole month of January. I'm going to throw tons of money at my credit cards, and so much to the point where I don't have cash to live. And so I find myself going back into credit card debt even when I paid it off. So again, there's so many things we do wrong when we're trying to change. We start with action. Like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be strict with myself, and I'm going to stop buying clothes, and I'm going to stop buying lattes, and I'm going to slash expenses. I'm going to stop eating out. And of course, using willpower, we can do that for a little while, but that's why Quitters Friday is a thing, because most of the things we try to do is unsustainable. And so again, that is what this new workshop is all about. This workshop is not about goal setting. It's not about how to set a budget. It's not about any of that. It's about how to have a fresh start that lasts. How do you become one of the 20% that actually follows through with their New Year's goals and resolutions? What do you need to do to be that person? And that is what this workshop is all about. Because here's the thing, you cannot change your life at the same pace that created the problem. You cannot change using the same thinking, the same habits, the same pace that got you where you are today. You have to do something different. Okay? And so when you move fast and do all these things, go on a no-spend diet, go on a strict budget, do all these things, you're bringing the same mindset, the same habits, and the same identity into the new year. The only thing you're changing are your actions, and you're using willpower to do that. And willpower, again, is very limited. That's why most people don't sustain the changes, because they're unsustainable. Real change, you all, hear me when I say this, requires an interruption. It requires a pause. It requires a reset. It requires space to slow down long enough to see the patterns or the financial comfort zone you've been living inside of. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And once you understand where you are, then you can start choosing differently. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the workshop. So again, invite your friends, sign up. You can go to the show notes, click the link there, or you can just go to jermainefoley.com/2026 to save your spot. Remember, the 2026 Money Reset Workshop is designed to guide you through the process I just talked about today. Slowing down, resetting, giving yourself a fresh start, learning how to commit. We're going to work through all of that. It's happening Sunday, December 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, invite a coworker, a sister, or a friend. Send them the link so that they can sign up themselves and get all of the details sent directly to them. All right, I hope to see you at the workshop. You're not going to be on camera. You will be able to see me. I will not be able to see you. You can ask questions. This will be very interactive, but you get to be off camera in the comfort of your own home. I'm so excited to help you and guide you to making 2026 your wealthiest year yet, because it is time for a reset. All right, I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.